that after they took Caleb, they had another pick. And I had projected that Eberflus would pound the table as a defensive coach and say, you got to get me somebody on the other side from Montez Sweat.
Yeah.
Because that's what coaches do. They're the highest, generally a coach makes more than the GM. McVay can pound the table, or a Shanahan. Now, obviously, Eberflus doesn't have that gravitas. But when they drafted another offensive player, it really was, to me, a sign the Bears had pivoted as a franchise. And Poles, to his credit, has missed on a couple of receivers. Belus Jones, Chase Claypool. Maybe I'm a little hyperbolic here, but I thought them saying, no, we're going to go with another offensive piece. It was almost signaling to Chicagoland, like, no, it is a new day here. How did that play when they didn't go defense? Because that city loves defense.
The city does love defense, but I think we've finally come to grips with what football is in 2024 and beyond, that you have to have a great offense. I mean, I was on the air live when the pick was made, and I gave a big old fist pump. I was like, modern offensive football is finally coming to Chicago. And I've been waiting for it my entire life. And, to Ryan Poles' credit, you mentioned a couple of the misses that he had. One of the things that's really stuck with me when he got hired, he said, remember where I came from. And he was the director of personnel, college personnel in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And so he was there when they drafted Patrick Mahomes. And he was there when they had the best offense in the league and they still used a first-round pick on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, that pick didn't work, but the point was you can never have too many offensive weapons to support your quarterback. So a lot of people thought they were going to take Turner or Murphy or Verse or someone like that to go opposite Montez Sweat. And make no mistake, that is the biggest hole on the team. They are very thin and unproven on the defensive line opposite Montez Sweat.
Yeah.
But they are invested in finally getting it right at the most important position in team sports, which is quarterback. And so Rome Odunze at 9 was a no-brainer to support Caleb. And that's the biggest mission for the Bears this year and beyond.
Danny.
Yeah, I think it's such a fascinating point to see how the Chicago Bears are changing their philosophy, right? For years and years and years, lifetimes, that they are such this defensive-oriented city, this culture. It's become part of who the Chicago Bears are to like their core, right? And they seemed kind of resistant to that, even as the NFL has changed to become such a offensively driven NFL. Like I always say this because it just seems like people forget that the rules have genuinely changed, right? The rules have genuinely changed to make it more offensive driven, to make it more offensive friendly. So if you had to choose between what do you want, a better offense or a better defense, which unfortunately sometimes you do, that you're better off. It's not to say you can't win with a great defense and a pretty good offense, but you're better off having a great offense and a pretty good defense. Now, it seems like Chicago could set themselves up to have both, right? To have pretty good offenses and defenses, or a great offense and a pretty good defense. And that's a recipe then for Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. And so I think Colin brought up an interesting point because, right, when you are a defensive head coach, you do have that feeling that that's where they draft. That's where their mind works. That's what they know. They're the ones that are talking to scouting and the GM and the owner even, and all that type of stuff. And yet they still now triple down on offense. And to me, that's an amazing sign. And like Danny Parkins was saying, is like they are finally changing who they are. They are finally embracing this offensive forward NFL. And to me, that should give Chicago Bears fans tremendous amount of excitement. Because, again, it's also similar what the Texans are doing. How the Texans also have a defensive head coach, and they ended up, CJ Stroud ended up being truly legit. And they were like, okay, well, you know what? Let's improve even better. And it wasn't like, let's double down on the defense. They said, you know what? Let's double down on the offense. Let's go improve there. Let's make it even easier for CJ Stroud. And to me, that is the sign of maturity, of a team that actually knows what they're doing, that's going in the right direction. And that is what the Chicago Bears are doing. Again, whether they're going to have immediate success or not, it's irrelevant. because they're going in the right direction, because they're making the right decisions. The right decisions always don't lead to the best outcomes, right? You can't always judge an outcome based on your decision. It may have been appropriate for you to go take that job. That was potentially the best decision, but the job ended up being terrible. You ended up having a terrible boss and then needing to quit. It doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. It was still the right decision, just the outcome didn't work out. And that's kind of also what Danny Parkins was saying about how there's certain decisions that they made with the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though it didn't end up working out, it doesn't mean that it was the wrong decision. So at the very least, you have to be excited with what the Chicago Bears are doing, because they are ultimately making the right decisions. They were having whispers and pressure to trade down, to keep Justin Fields, to try to get other picks and do that. And it's like, not so sure that would have been the right decision. That would have been a courageous decision. That would have been a courageous decision of a lifetime, but not so sure that would be the right decision. So it just feels like that they really are. And they are also not doing this thing where they're like, hey, Caleb Williams is going to be great. We already got some pretty good weapons. Hey, Justin Fields was kind of holding back the offense, and we're going to make a few changes. But hey, now that we got Caleb, everything's going to be better. They said that, and they said, and let's make our offense even better. Let's add some true pieces. Let's get some real success right now. Let's make life as easy as we can for Caleb. Let's not make it harder just because we know that he's capable of enduring hard stuff. Same thing with the Kansas City Chiefs are doing with Patrick Mahomes right now. Kansas City has proven, and Patrick Mahomes has proven, that he could win with not top level elite weapons outside of course, Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. But Kansas City's like, well, we don't want to keep doing that. We know we have a great defense, but let's make our life a little bit easier for Patrick Mahomes. Let's not put all that weight on him game after game after game after game. And so what did they do? They drafted a wide receiver. They drafted a tight end. They signed another free agent offensively. They went out and made concrete moves. And they obviously know how to win, right? They obviously know what they're doing. So I think this is great for the Chicago Bears. And I think it has kind of signaled to the fan base, to the NFL around, that this is a new era for Chicago, that they are coming, whether it's this season or next season. They are for real. And they're going to be a team that you're going to have to consider. The years of them just being nothing, I think, are going to be long gone. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think that this has finally signaled a change for Chicago, that they are now like more offensively driven and that they are embracing the modern NFL? Or do you think, they were just drafting? This is just the NFL. Sometimes you draft offense, sometimes you draft defense. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. Let's see you next time.